Information contained in this video or in any other content should not be construed as legal advice with regard to any legal matter. Content is for information purposes only. Acting on or refraining from acting on the facts of any topic contained therein should not be done without seeking advice from a licensed attorney or professional. Nothing contained herein shall constitute an attorney-client relationship. Only the execution of a fee agreement constitutes an attorney-client relationship. You've fallen and injured yourself. Were you just clumsy, or did the property owner or manager fail to take care of a known hazard that caused you to fall and hurt yourself? How do you know? What should you do? I'd like to welcome everyone to our 20th Philadelphia Accident and Injury Google Hangout. My name is Renee, and today we'll be talking again with Rand Spear, Philadelphia's accident lawyer, about just that. Hey Rand, how you doing?
Good, Renee. How are you today?
I can't complain. It's overcast here in Florida, but we're dealing with it.
Great.
Today we will be focusing on what you should do if you've been injured on someone else's property and you believe it was not your fault. Based on your 30 years of experience, can you give us some of the main causes of slip and fall or trip and fall accidents and the type of injuries that often occur?
Well, let's start with the types of falls. There's so many types of falls. People fall for so many reasons. But a lot of times it comes down to maintenance. The sidewalks are cracked, or there's snow and ice that hasn't been properly cleared, or there's insufficient lighting so you cannot see where you're walking, or there's debris or a slippery substance left on the floor. So there's so many factors that you need to look at when there is a slip and fall. But the landowner, the property owner, the manager, they all have responsibility to keep the property safe for individuals that are lawfully on their property. As far as injuries, I find that the injuries sustained in slip and fall accidents are oftentimes much more serious than the injuries that occur in even motor vehicle accidents. When someone falls, oftentimes it involves a very bad injury such as a fractured ankle, a broken leg, a shattered pelvis, cognitive issues, a concussion. There's just so many injuries that are really serious from these slip and falls that it's very important to get immediate help. As soon as you're injured, get over to a hospital, get over to a doctor, get checked out, and make sure you're properly taken care of.
That sounds like good advice. What does the law say specifically about whether a slip and fall is due to the negligence of a property owner or manager?
Well, if someone just trips over their own 2 feet, obviously no one's responsible. But that's generally not what happens. Usually someone trips and falls due to the negligent maintenance of a particular property, as I said earlier. There's cracks in the sidewalk. The railing going up and down the steps is unsecure. It's not well lit, so you really can't see where you're walking. There's a big pothole. There's a big defect. And so under the law, in general terms, the landlord, the manager, it could be a landscape company, it could be a management company, it could be a snow removal company. There's many parties that can be responsible for the negligent maintenance of a condition. You also have to be careful if a governmental entity is involved, such as the city or the Commonwealth or the state or the municipality, because there's time frames. You only have a limited amount of time to bring a claim against a governmental entity. So it's very important that you call a lawyer promptly after you get hurt on someone else's property so that they can fully investigate who is responsible and make sure they get proper notice within the period of time that you're allowed to give notice.
Is there a specific procedure that your team of lawyers goes through about proving whether a property owner or manager is negligent when victims often suffer a loss of memory due to the fall?
Well, in many instances, we do an investigation. So a lot of times clients come in and they bring pictures of what caused them to fall. We also want to interview and talk to anyone that was with them to see what they saw, to see if they can verify the negligent condition of the premises, or did they observe our client fall and sustain injury. We also want to find out if there's any video in the building or on the location that we could possibly get to show exactly what happened. So the sooner you can call a lawyer and the sooner we can get letters out and notify the defendant to preserve that information, the better off we'll be. Because under the law, if a defendant knows about an accident on their property, they're under an obligation to keep that video for a reasonable period of time, because it does show exactly what happened. And if they destroy it, that can be used against them at trial. So that's why time is really of the essence. And for us or any lawyer to really do a good job, the sooner you call us and the sooner we get involved, the more information we can do, the better investigation we can perform, and the better results we can hopefully achieve.
We've talked about property owners and managers. Who else can be held accountable under the law for these slip and fall accidents?
Well, it really depends on what type of defect caused the accidents. And I've seen over the years there's so many unique circumstances that you really should talk to someone just to explore exactly what happened. You know, maybe the sidewalk is slightly askew. Maybe it came up as a result of some trees where the roots grew underneath the sidewalk and pushed it up. Maybe you're in a supermarket and someone spilled something all over the floor and it wasn't cleaned up properly. So you have to really, first of all, look and see what caused the client to fall. And then from there you start to investigate. Was it the owner of the property? So I would pull a copy of the deed to see who owned the property. Could it be the tenant? Maybe it's a supermarket that's renting the building and they're responsible. Is there a maintenance company? Maybe they were negligent in not doing their job as they were required to do. It could be a landscaping company. Maybe it's a snow and ice removal company. Maybe it's the city of Philadelphia or the state of New Jersey or the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. So that's why, again, I say it's really important to promptly call a lawyer as soon as you are injured and you're safe and you've gotten medical attention. Go ahead and make the call, get the information, and let the lawyer perform an investigation right away.
Well, I think you've hit it. Call sooner rather than later. I think it's going to be in their interest. Maybe you can share with the audience some of the other types of premise liability accidents that your team of accident lawyers can help clients with.
Well, you're really entitled to all of the damages that you are in most personal injury cases. So number one, you're entitled to a claim for pain and suffering. You know, how badly did you suffer? How did it affect your life? What couldn't you do? Was there a loss of life's pleasures? Are there things now that you're no longer able to do? Lift your children, do yard work, go to work, make a living. You might have a lost wage claim or a loss of earning capacity claim because now your ability to work and earn a living is restricted. So there's many, many areas. You may have outstanding hospital bills or medical bills or pharmacy bills or all different bills that you may accumulate as a result of what happened to you in this accident. So as you can see, a personal injury claim involving a slip and fall can be quite substantial. When you start to calculate someone's injuries and the life impact, and if they've lost money from work, and if they have outstanding medical bills, or there's a lien on the file from an insurance company, all of those go into determining what the reasonable value of a settlement is. And so that's what we try to do, to calculate each of the different areas of damages in order to come up with a demand of what we're looking for in order to fairly compensate our client for the injuries and the economic losses they sustained in this unfortunate accident.
Well, nobody can realize, what they're going through until they start going through it. But that's a large list of possible, expenses and damages that clients need to recover. Maybe are there other types of premise liability accidents that your team of lawyers, have helped your clients with?
There's so many. I'm working on one now where a young man was injured in the schoolyard, where the chain on the swing collapsed, and he fell to the ground and unfortunately was very seriously injured. So there really is. I mean, you're out in the public area, you're walking around, and different things happen. I worked on a case not too long ago where a tree actually fell on someone who was driving by in their car and was crushed underneath the tree and sustained serious personal injuries. So, regardless of how the accident happened, it's always best to make the call. I mean, it's a free consultation. Find out, whether or not what happened to you is compensable, whether or not you can recover damages, whether or not someone is responsible for what happened to you.
Well, every time I sit down and we have one of these hangouts, I learn a little bit more about the law. If you have a case in Pennsylvania or New Jersey related to any accident or injury, please call Rand Spear, the accident lawyer, at 888-373-4-LAW. That's the number 4 and the word law. Or you can always visit the firm at www.randspear.com. Rand, it was again a pleasure.
Thank you, Renee. Good speaking with you today.
And I'm going to thank everyone that made this possible and invite everyone to come back next week when we're going to have another interesting topic with Rand Spear, the accident lawyer.